Hey everybody, what's going on? Happy Friday, the 3rd of January, 2025, the first Friday of the year. Wanted to make a quick video for everybody with something that's kind of on my mind that I wanted to share with you. Kind of self-explanatory. How to get dedicated customers, box trucks, hot shots, flatbeds, 48-foot, cargo vans, reefers, dry vans. My website, it's myfreightnetwork.com. Check it out. I've got tons of tools and resources. If you're going to start a trucking company, it's a great place to check out. I guess it's this way. Yeah, there we go. I have all the contacts for you to get up and running. The transportation game is a team sport. I've built a team, so you don't have to. I've done the networking, been doing this for a decade. Anyway, give me a call, check out the website, and we can connect. But let's go over this right now. How to get dedicated customers. I'm going to go over some examples, specifically two cases. I'm going to call them case studies. There's a gentleman that I follow on LinkedIn that I agree with everything that he says for the most part with his posts on LinkedIn. So I have two of his posts here that I'm going to review with you, and we're going to dissect them, and I'm going to give you a third scenario that is my personal opinion on strategies and perspectives on how to get dedicated customers for your trucking business. So first and foremost, easiest way to get a dedicated customer is to steal it from a broker by providing A-plus service. And I guess I can dive into this right now. If you run a load with a broker and it's locally to where you live geographically, the deadhead to get to the shipper is less than 50 miles and they pay a good rate going from point A to point B, and you run that load once, you run it twice, you run it 3 times. Well, on the 3rd or 4th time, when you get to that shipper, walk in and well, not walk in, but when you're about to leave with your load and you're about to get your bill of lading, your BOL, just say, hey, I'd like to talk to the warehouse manager, please. I'd like to introduce myself. Where are they? I've picked up a couple loads from you guys. Can I talk to them, please, real quick? Ask anybody, and they'll bring over that warehouse manager, the foreman, whoever it is, and just look sharp, have a hat, have a shirt with your company. I'm over here. With a company logo on it, or just a collared shirt, be clean cut, professional. Shake their hand, have a business card ready and say, hey, listen, I got this load from TQL. I've done it 3 times for you, and I like the way that you guys run your operation. I'm actually local. I actually live 30 miles away, and I've done this load 3 times. And I don't know how long you have these loads for. Is it entirely for the calendar year? Is it seasonal? Regardless, if you want to work directly with me and we bypass the broker, I can save you money. Why don't you just run these loads with me directly? Because I've already done 3 of them. Let's just keep doing more and we can cut out the broker and you can save money. And the reason I say this is underlining a different layer of the onion to describe it to you, outside of me dictating that kind of conversation that you need to have, is a rule of thumb. A rule of thumb is 10%. That's what the broker is, a middleman. He's trying to get his markup. I used to be a broker at Nolan Transportation. I would know. I used to book 500 truckloads a month or I would be fired. So I had to sink or swim and I had to figure it out. But the rule of thumb is 10%, meaning if a load is posted on the load board for $1,000, for simple math, well, you know that broker is trying to make 10% on that load. So that means 10% of 1,000 is $100. So they really have $1,100 to move the load, but they're trying to sell it to you for 1,000. So when it comes to negotiating with that broker, hey broker, I see you have the load available. I see it's posted up for $1,000. Can you do $1,050 on it? You already know it's 1,100. Split the difference with the number that you know because of the rule of thumb. 10% margin is what they're looking for. And then get that load. Okay, yeah, we'll meet you in the middle. Maybe he's desperate. Maybe it's the end of the day. It's at 5 o'clock and he just needs to book the load with you and he wants you to pick it up and then that broker can go home. That's a really good rule of thumb. That's what I would encourage you to do. They're making $50, not $100, depending on the broker that you talk to. They'll give it to you, or another one will be like, no, you got to hit me at $1,000 flat. That's what it's posted for, and that's what I need to sell it for. And then say, counter. Okay, well, I'll do it for $1,033. Okay, I'll do it for $1,025. Okay, fine, I'll do it for $1,010. Okay, fine, I'll do it for $1,000 flat. That's up to you for your negotiating, but in terms of a rule of thumb, 10% is the margin markup, and then when you get to that shipper and you run the load 3 times, that's when you're able to talk to the warehouse manager or the foreman and say, hey, I've provided you guys with A+ service. I've done this 3 times. You have a broker that keeps giving me the load. Let's forget the broker. The broker's marking it up 10%, which means they're charging you $1,100 to do the load, and they're only paying me $1,000. Well, I've done it 3 times. Why don't you just pay me $1,050? You're going to be paying less to the broker. You pay more to me. Plus, communication is direct. You don't have to deal with a third party for communication. It's a 1-2 relationship. That's the way that conversation goes. Watch. You'll get yourself a dedicated customer. That's how. A+ service, servicing that same shipper from a broker, stealing it, quoting a lower price, knowing the rule of thumb of 10% to know your position. And that's a way to kind of feel out your conversation. Next slide. Okay, that was kind of long-winded. So like I was saying, I have some scenarios from a carrier that I follow on LinkedIn. Basically, how I want to sort of just show you what these are is I just want to read them to you. Bear with me for what they are. He writes a little funny, so I might read it a little funny, but let me read it and then I'm going to explain it. And I have 2 of these scenarios that I kind of want to go over with you, and they're about how to get dedicated customers and that perspective that goes with it. So I'm going to read this to you now. So, why do customers keep returning over and over? One of our customers asked for a quote to cross-dock a container. Based on everything provided, I quoted $650 to unload and $450 to reload, all in $1,100. After getting the container to our dock and taking a look, we will get the unload done for $450 and the reload done for $250, or a total of $700. I told the customer the updated charges and her response, and that's why I will never use anyone else. You have always been fair and I trust you. I was worried that she may pop up at my warehouse and watch. Could I have just kept the additional $400? Yes and no. Was I obligated to tell her it was going to be cheaper than the quote? Absolutely. If you have ever dealt with any of my companies, you understand my answer. Da-dun-dun-dun. That was his response, talking on a post that he posted on LinkedIn. And I thought it was appropriate. I thought it was fitting to kind of just include that with sort of what we're talking about. How do you win a customer? Well, you win a customer doing A+ service. And this really resonates in terms of you being memorable to that shipper. Oh yeah, that carrier's been here a couple times. They get in, they get out, they load, they have a pallet jack, they're kind, they're polite, they're clean, they're well cut, they communicate. I'm under the impression, sure, maybe, if you can grab all the low-hanging fruit, do the common sense stuff perfectly. Grab all the low-hanging fruit, and you don't even have to climb the tree. Just do a great job at the simple things. And I think this really resonates in a lot of different ways because you're building goodwill with that customer. He could have kept the $1,100, and basically you can understand what's going on in this scenario. A customer came to him, there's an issue, a container needs to be unloaded and reloaded, and stuff needs to be reworked and put into different containers. Or maybe, some product fell over inside the container and the container product just needs to be reworked. I used to do that with Nestle and bottled water on pallets. They'd fall over, or Coca-Cola cans, they fall over, they need to be restacked. It happens in transit from California to Georgia. It's inevitable. So in between, in transit, something like this, something needs to be cross-docked with a container or a dry van or a flatbed, and it needs to be reworked before it can continue in transit to get to its destination. So Yeah, he quoted from the conversation, we could do that for $1,100. And then once it was in front of him, he realized, oh, this is actually a lot simpler than what it was described to me. I can still make money at $700, and I'm now telling the customer that they're going to save more money. So I'm doing them a favor. And now that they trust me, I did a good job. This solidifies that I am going to get more future business with them because they trust me and we did good work. It doesn't get more simple than that. And I think this, again, it resonates with building goodwill with your customers. And that can transcend a lot of different things. First thing that comes to mind is outstanding customer service. You and I both know how customer service is getting worse and worse and worse with a variety of different companies and businesses out there. But for you, with your business as a carrier, grab all that low-hanging fruit and do all the common things exceptionally well. So, by building that goodwill, you further solidify loyalty. If you did make a mistake with something else in the future, there's a greater level of forgiveness with communicating and working with each other. Sets you apart from your competition and, improves the value of your business to get more business in the future, which is the overall goal. So a little conclusion with that first scenario. Never underestimate the value of a kind word or deed in your business. I think that's a great reminder for a lot of us. Sometimes one kind word can change your entire week. Every time you go the extra mile for your customers, you are building goodwill and you are securing the future of your company. I think that's very well said. Actively take time to search out ways to build goodwill with your customers. It is an investment in your company. Again, solid, simple, simplistic conclusion, good bullet points, good stuff to keep in mind. Let's go over a second scenario. This is a second how-to scenario. I'm going to read it to you again, kind of like the other one. Read it first, and then we can dissect it. And I think it also applies to the conversation of how to get a dedicated customer that we're elaborating on here. So I'm going to read it. Bear with me in terms of the writing. He writes a little bit funny. That's okay. I'll communicate and let's dive into it. Are you a small to medium-sized shipper? Do you think you should be subsidizing large shippers? There is a very good chance that you are. When looking for a broker to handle your loads, ask who their broker's existing customers are. If they tell you companies like Walmart, Lowe's, Home Depot, etc., run. Large shippers are very in tune with the cost of shipping loads. They are notorious for having some of the lowest rates in the market. This means that brokers' margins are quite a bit lower most of the time on these type of loads with those type of customers. What we have seen on multiple posts I have made is brokers saying they are averaging 15% or so on all of their business. That they make lower margins on some lanes and higher margins on others to come up with the average. These large shippers generally want brokers to come in at almost the cost to get the carrier to move the freight. So if brokers are not making their average of 15% on large shippers, where do you think they get the money to bring up their averages? That's right, from your loads, because you're moving them at cost. I think this is appropriate. I wanted to bring it up in terms of a scenario to talk about really quickly with you, because he's driving at the angle of a 15% margin. As a broker myself that moved hundreds of loads, 20 loads a day, 25 loads a day, a slow day, 10 loads a day. What a crazy experience. And I'm amazed that I survived that long doing it for about 5 years. He's saying a margin of 15%. I don't think so. It's more so 5%. But again, I'm giving you thought process to think about. So earlier we were talking about, okay, if it's posted for $1,000, I need to know it's a 10% margin markup. So the broker really has $1,100. He's saying the broker really has $1,150. All right, so I'm painting the picture to give you more of the puzzle pieces to help you with your negotiation with getting a dedicated customer, feeling out that negotiation conversation with that dedicated customer that you're trying to steal from the broker that's giving you 3 of the loads out of that area. I would try, absolutely, why not? If you don't try, you'll never know. So I think you kind of get what we're saying here, along with that's kind of educational. Learning who's the shipper in terms of whose product is it, and that does make sense. Larger shippers are very in tune with the cost to ship their loads, so those margins are going to be less unless there's some crazy relationship with that broker and that shipper, like Walmart. Which happens sometimes. An uncle or a brother-in-law or a sister-in-law work wherever. We're not going to go down that rabbit hole, but I think you get my point. So anyway, I wanted to make this video going over those details on how to get a dedicated customer. Again, my name's Paul Clark. I do freight factoring. Everybody loves Better Call Saul. Why not call Paul? Check out my website, myfreightnetwork.com. Like I said, if you're a brand new carrier, this is, I ride or die, cradle to the grave. I stand by the statement. The freight game is a team sport. Pick your team wisely. There's a lot of people in this business that you really get solicited to by a lot of people, and it's tiring, I know. But you need to pick your team wisely. I've done the work building an awesome team of outstanding people. Work with them. Happy to get you introduced to people that I work with that are A-plus players. So let's go over them real quick. We got Junior Bloodworth. He's in Chattanooga, Tennessee. If you need to buy a truck, I don't care if you need to buy a box truck, a power unit, a dump truck, a flatbed, a hot shot, whatever. This guy is a rock star. You can go up to Chattanooga. It's beautiful. There's people in Los Angeles that buy trucks from him. There's people in New York that buy trucks from him. There's people down in Miami that drive up to Chattanooga, Tennessee to buy a truck from Junior. He's well known across the United States. Show up with 10 grand, he'll get you in a truck. Warranties, everything that you need covered. Banking, finance available, covered. You have a bad credit score, he'll take care of you. If you need a truck, I'm very appreciative of this guy. There's something to be said, and I'm a big advocate, and that's why I have these people on my team and on my website. Please check it out, where the people that answer the phone after 5 o'clock, the people that answer the phone on the weekend, the people that are there to help you in the DEFCON situation when things are just going crazy and you need assistance. Am I pointing the right way? There we go. This guy's a rock star. I'm very appreciative that I know him because it goes beyond just the transaction. With me in factoring, it goes beyond just a transaction. Those are people I want to network with and work with. This is your guy. You are kicking yourself if you do not call him just to network with him, to buy a truck or ask him about something that you're thinking about within the industry. If he doesn't know, he knows somebody that knows. And I try to treat myself the same way, and that's why I build a team. So give Junior a call. If you're looking to buy a truck, he'll get you taken care of, guaranteed. FM, CSA, DOT, MC, clearinghouse, compliance with everything. It's a lot of work to keep up with it. Tandra Foley, she's a rock star. She's sweet as can be. She knows everything. She follows up. Outstanding A+ communication, especially when it's something like government compliance with the Department of Transportation. You want to make sure your T's are crossed, your I's are dotted. She's your girl. You cannot not avoid dealing with compliance. She's your contact. Call her. She'll help you out. If you need truck dispatching to find loads, I have a dispatcher. He will help you find freight. Give him a call. He will help you out. He's located on the East Coast. He works across the United States with his team. Wow. Customer service, top notch. You're in good hands for finding loads. Myself and Kaden Hernandez, the owner of My Truck Manager, on average for 2024, the carriers that we worked with, and I have in another video, on average, the income that this, again, it's partnership and it becomes a friendship. And that's exactly what's happened with me and Kaden Hernandez, the owner of mytruckmanager.com. It transcends business, and those are the people you want to work with, where it becomes a family, become friends. Anyway, and that goes for Tandra, that goes for Junior Bloodworth as well. They are my friends now, and it's just a freight game. It's all a big pizza. We're all getting a slice, but at the same time too, they're good people. Work with good people that good people recommend. So check him out. He'll take care of you, helping you find loads. To finish the thought that I was saying, on average for 2024, $17,500, $18,000 average monthly income for the carriers that I work with factoring. Kaden works with dispatch and fleet management to help your drivers, help your trucks stay on the load and earning. Invaluable contacts. Again, this video was a bit longer than I wanted it to be. Hopefully you found it to be educational. Again, better call Paul. That's me. Check out my partners on my website with myfreightnetwork.com. And this was a little bit of my 2 cents on dedicated customers, how to get them. And again, freight game, it's a team sport. Choose your team wisely. Hope you have a great weekend. I'll catch you on the next video. Bye.